So the purpose of this video that I'm making here is to help people get a better understanding of how uh, Cabinet Parts Pro can work together with Vectric's VCarve Pro to make a workflow for cabinet making much easier. And in this case, we're specifically going to be talking about certain types of custom operations. So in this case, MDF doors and drawer fronts. So I'm first going to open up Cabinet Parts Pro, and I have a file here that's already in place, and I'm going to open it up, and it has a list of doors of different sizes for a job that has to be done. And if I click on calculate cabinet parts and nest, it will create all those doors and nest them. And in this case, it nested on 5 different sheets. So we've got sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4, sheet 5. Okay. Now, what we're using here is a custom door script that puts certain shapes with certain layer names. So the doors, the actual boundary of the door, is kind of automatic. That's part of what Cabinet Parts Pro does. But if we right click on a door and say Open DXF, Cabinet Parts Pro has this cabinet CAD, and it lets us it's kind of a simple CAD program, and it lets us select a shape like this one, for instance, and we see that its layer name is Style 1 Panel. Okay, and then we have this outer layer, which is called Cut, which is the default for the outermost layer. But our custom door script can make whatever. It can make multiple rectangles, different shapes, whatever, and output them in a different layer name for a particular type of job. And so then what, right? So we can go using the toolpath settings over here, but that's making the toolpaths using Cabinet Parts Pro, which is cool. But if you have Vectric, a lot of times it's easier to use Vectric. So that's what we're going to be focused on this time. So let's fold that out of the way. Now, so what we're going to do now, we're going to open up VCarve Pro. Now that's open. We're going to create a new file. We're going to give it size 48 by 96 in this case. We also need to back up and make sure that our nesting settings here in Cabinet Parts Pro are the same, 48 by 96. So I'm going to go to Tools, Settings, and I'm going to go to Nesting and change this to 96 by 48. And again, this will depend on your machine and material size, different things. So right now we've got it at a part spacing of 1/2 inch. Allow rotation. So these are all different settings that we can set. Safe Z to 1/4 inch, etc., etc. But anyway, and for now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this checked where it will open up the gadget dialog. Now, this pertains to when we're copying the information over to Vectric's VCarve Pro. And this information is current as of March 4th, 2019. VCarve is at version 9.5, I think. And again, this would also apply, I would imagine, to Aspire, which is a higher end version of VCarve Pro that does full 3D capability and stuff like that. Okay, so we have our nested parts, but because I changed a setting, I'm going to close out of that, recalculate the cabinet parts, and nest. And that'll take 15-20 seconds, something like that. Alright, here we go. We got our 5 sheets. And good. So parts are all nested and ready to go. I'm going to go to the Tools menu and say Copy to Vectric. Okay? And it says Ready to Paste into Vectric. I click OK. Switch to VCarve Pro. We've got our base job sitting here ready to go. 48 by 96 inches, 3/4 of an inch thick. And we hit Edit, Paste. Okay. Now, you can see, well, I can't see really well, but we have our sheets now here. Because this toolpath window is in the way, I can't look at it. So I'm just going to cancel this for just a second. We're going to zoom to everything on the job. So we see we have sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4, and sheet 5. And at any point I can double click on sheet 1, add stuff, change stuff, whatever I want. But that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video, what we're wanting to do is automatically apply toolpath information to this entire job. Okay. Now, there's a couple of ways that we can go about that. Now, one is actually doing it when we click Edit Paste from Cabinet Parts Pro. So I'm going to go to the File menu and click New. Click OK. And I'm going to hit Paste again. Okay. Only this time I'm going to let it attempt to apply the template to all sheets. And depending on the result of this, then we'll go from there. To begin with, I'm not going to save the toolpaths after calculating, just so we can see what it comes up with. So I'm just going to call this test 1, and that's the output folder that it would save the files to if this were checked, if the save toolpaths after calculating were checked. But it's not. So anyway, we've got our particular machine chosen here, and I want to select a template, and this template is called, I believe it's double step shaker door. Okay. Now this may cause an error, and if so, that's good, because we need to know, anybody who uses this is probably going to need to know about this error, why it happens, and it will eventually be fixed, but because I have brought it to the attention of VCarve, or Vectric I should say. So let's click OK. And it says the loaded template included toolpaths which were associated with the following missing layers. So I'm actually not sending out the right cabinets. Okay, so let me back up then. All right, so let me back up. I'm going to close this out, create a new job in VCarve, and then I'm going into Cabinet Parts Pro, and I want to change a setting here under the user settings, MDF doors. Now this is for a custom script that I'm using here, and this should say DS Shaker. DS Shaker. Okay, and I'm going to X out of that. Close this. Now calculate cabinet parts and nest. Okay, first of all we need to close the part nester. Now calculate cabinet parts and nest. Okay, so here we are, we've got our shape. I'm going to open up the DXF and take a quick look, and we have shaker step and shaker panel, which is the layers I believe it was requesting just a minute ago. So tools, copy to Vectric. Okay, now we switch over to VCarve to Vectric and we say edit, paste, and now we have the toolpath template chosen, the machine chosen, and the folder. Now the folder has not been created. We actually have to create this folder first. So let's do that real quick. So I'm going to create a new folder and call it 2019-03 04 test 1. Okay, so I created the folder, went into the folder, and now we go to the output folder and we make sure that folder is chosen and click OK. And it is. And now we click OK. And we see Vectric actually applying all the toolpath data to all those sheets. So that's great. We've got our toolpath data and everything, but what we don't have yet, we haven't actually done anything with that toolpath data. We haven't put it out to the machine. But now that we've verified that everything processed correctly and there were no errors, which is awesome, then all we have to do is try to process that again. Now this may be where we come up with an error. So, and again, we're doing this several times because I'm trying to save whoever may watch this video a lot of trouble because I've spent hours and hours and hours trying to work through these issues that I was having. So anyway, edit, paste. Only this time we're going to click Save Toolpaths after calculating. Everything else is still the same from before. We click OK, and we see what happens. Okay, in this case we get no errors, which is excellent. Depending on the type of toolpath you're trying to create, you may or may not receive an error. The error occurs when you do a toolpath that has a kind of a hog step, a pocket step with an additional detail pass on the same toolpath. But since that's not occurring at the moment, there's no need to address it at this time. So inside our folder now, we now have the 5 sheets of G-code that the machine wants to read and respond to and turn into wood chips, turn into cabinets. So that is pretty much the basic process there. Now, if we need to make a change to our door script, you know, how do we do that? And that may be something I need to put in a different video. This shows us how to get stuff from Cabinet Parts Pro into VCarve and out to G-code in basically, you know, 1 or 2 steps instead of more like 30. Saves a tremendous amount of time. I'm going to put a link in the video description also to Ryan Patterson's explaining how this all works, just so that it can give a little more insight that may be helpful in the future. And also I may try to put together another video showing the errors that occur, and maybe that'll help someone not have to fight through the same trouble that I did. But anyway, we have here a working system. Now, we will be having to make some adjustments because we see we're using a 1/2-inch bit to do these pockets, but we need to do that with a larger bit. So that'll be on the next video, one of the following videos. You know, how do we change this toolpath template to use a larger tool and then apply that one instead. Okay, so give me just a moment and I'll start work on that other video. Meantime, I'm going to sign off of this one and we'll go from there.